Russia has been quietly upgrading its deadliest weapons, and the implications reach far beyond the battlefield in Ukraine.
There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting, which will be more productive than the first, because the first is I'm going to find out where we are and what we're doing.
Will Russia face any consequences if Vladimir Putin does not agree to stop the war after your meeting on Friday?
Yes, they will. Yeah.
What will the consequences
There will be
be?
consequences.
Sanctions, tariffs?
There will be, I don't have to say, there will be very severe consequences.
The question is, come Friday, will President Trump remember this and the warnings from Ukraine?
A bombshell U.S. intelligence report has revealed that Moscow has been systematically enhancing its ballistic missiles with new maneuvering capabilities, creating unprecedented challenges for Ukraine's American-made Patriot air defense systems. These aren't just minor improvements. We're talking about missiles that can now change course mid-flight, deploy sophisticated radar decoys, and perform evasive maneuvers that make traditional interception calculations virtually worthless. The transformation has been so dramatic that Ukrainian Air Force officials report their Patriot systems, once considered the gold standard of missile defense, are struggling to consistently intercept Russian ballistic missiles due to recent tactical improvements. This represents a fundamental shift in the balance of power, one that has implications not just for Ukraine, but for NATO allies and American defense strategies worldwide. Making matters worse, Russia appears to be preparing to test even more advanced weapon systems with capabilities that sound like something out of science fiction.
Thanks, Shivan. Let's unpack everything we know so far. Now let's take a look at the 9M730 Burevest missile, which NATO has dubbed as SSC-X9 Skyfall. Now, according to reports, the Burevestnik is a nuclear-powered cruise missile. It is designed to carry a nuclear warhead, boasting an impressive range of over 23,000 kilometers. Well, one of its key features is that its ability to fly at low altitudes, making it challenging for radar systems to detect and intercept. Well, reports claim that the missile's stealth capabilities are designed to evade early warning sensors and missile defenses first tested in 2016. The Burevestnik faced significant challenges, including a poor test record with only 2 partial successes out of 13 known tests since 2016, as reported by the Nuclear Threat Initiative. Now, experts believe that if successfully developed, the Burevestnik could significantly alter the global nuclear power dynamic, providing Russia with an edge over others.
Recent satellite imagery has revealed heightened activity at Russia's Pankovo nuclear test site, with specialized aircraft and equipment arriving since late July. Intelligence analysts believe this could signal preparations for testing Russia's Burevestnik nuclear-powered cruise missile, a weapon with an estimated range of over 23,000 kilometers that can fly at low altitudes to evade radar detection. To understand the gravity of this situation, we need to examine what made the Patriot system so formidable in the first place. The MIM-104 Patriot has long served as Ukraine's best defense against Russian ballistic missiles, forming the top tier of their air defense network. When these systems first arrived in Ukraine in April 2023, they were genuine game changers. Within weeks, they had successfully intercepted Russia's supposedly unstoppable Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, which are launched from fighter jets at altitudes exceeding 12 kilometers. Over the past 2 years, approximately 10 Patriot systems deployed in Ukraine have downed dozens of Kinzhals, along with countless other cruise and ballistic missiles, including those supplied by North Korea. The Patriots achieve this through sophisticated radar systems that track incoming threats and launch interceptor missiles at supersonic speeds, creating those distinctive thunderous explosions that have become a familiar sound over Ukrainian cities. But something fundamental changed in Russia's missile arsenal around mid-2024. Intelligence reports indicate a surge in Russian deployment of ballistic missiles with enhanced maneuvering capabilities that has significantly reduced the effectiveness of Ukraine's Patriot systems. The Ukrainian Air Force has acknowledged struggling to consistently protect against these upgraded weapons, which now feature enhancements enabling them to change trajectory and perform complex maneuvers rather than following traditional ballistic paths. The statistics paint a troubling picture. In a June 28th attack, Russia launched 7 ballistic missiles and Ukraine managed to shoot down only 1. On July 9th, they intercepted 7 of 13 missiles, still respectable, but far below the near-perfect interception rates Ukraine had grown accustomed to. By April 8, 2025, only one of 6 Iskander-M missiles launched at Kyiv was successfully intercepted, a stark contrast to earlier successes when Patriots routinely eliminated entire salvos. The key to understanding this dramatic shift lies in Russia's primary ballistic missile, the Iskander-M. According to Ukrainian Air Force officials, these missiles have been upgraded with radar decoys and quasi-ballistic trajectories that make them exponentially harder to intercept. The Iskander-M's newfound ability to challenge the Patriot stems from its combination of speed, maneuverability, and sophisticated countermeasures. Think about what this means in practical terms. Traditional ballistic missiles follow predictable arcs. They go up, they come down, and physics determines their path. Patriot systems are designed to calculate exactly where these missiles will be and intercept them at that precise point. But Russia's upgraded missiles don't follow those rules anymore. The flight along a quasi-ballistic trajectory means the missile doesn't just fall in a straight line, but actually performs maneuvers in flight, making it nearly impossible for the Patriot system's software to predict exactly where the missile will be. It's like trying to hit a target that keeps changing direction at the last second. Your calculations become worthless the moment the missile alters its course. But the maneuverability is only part of the problem. The Iskander's decoys are ejected at high altitudes or during the terminal phase, often in response to radar illumination by air defense systems. These decoys create false radar signatures that confuse or saturate enemy systems, mimicking the missile's radar cross-section to evade interceptors. Imagine facing what appears to be one incoming missile, but suddenly your radar shows multiple targets. Which one is real? Which ones are decoys? By the time operators figure it out, the real missile has already reached its target. Traveling at hypersonic velocities, these weapons reduce the reaction window for defenders to mere seconds. This technology, previously associated with intercontinental ballistic missiles, represents a significant advancement in short-range systems. What makes this development particularly concerning is that the Iskander-M has been operational since the early 2000s, incorporating advanced countermeasures from the beginning. Russia has been steadily improving these capabilities for over 2 decades, learning from every engagement and refining their approach. The Pentagon first acknowledged the Iskander-M's decoy capability in March 2022, but the full extent of recent upgrades has only now become apparent. The real-world impact has been devastating. On March 9, 2024, an Iskander-M strike destroyed 2 German-supplied Patriot launchers near Pokrovsk, marking the first confirmed loss of Patriot components in Ukraine. A notable strike on May 22, 2025, targeted a Patriot battery near Ordzhonikidze in Dnipropetrovsk, destroying an AN/MPQ-65 radar, a control cabin, and 2 launchers. Russia isn't just evading the Patriots, it's actively hunting them down and eliminating them. The human cost of this technological arms race continues to mount.
And it should have never happened. This war would have never happened if I were president. But it is what it is, and I'm here to fix it. And I'm here to stop 6,000, 7,000 people last week. 7,213 people last week were killed, mostly soldiers. But missiles being lobbed into towns don't exactly help either, but mostly soldiers. And Ukrainian and Russian, they're not American soldiers, but if we can save a lot of lives, it would be a great thing. I've stopped 5 wars in the last 6 months. And on top of that, we wiped out the nuclear capability of Iran, obliterated it.
Behind every failed interception are real people, families torn apart, communities destroyed, lives forever changed. In one late April attack on Kyiv, a single Russian missile that evaded Patriot defenses razed a 2-story apartment building, killing 12 people and wounding 87, while damaging dozens of surrounding buildings. World leaders have been scrambling to respond to this crisis, looking for any diplomatic solution to this escalating crisis.
We had a very good call. He was on the call. President Zelensky was on the call. I would rate it a 10, very, very friendly. I know the leaders because I was at NATO, as you know. I took it from 2% to 5%, 2% that wasn't paid, 5% that is paid. which is trillions of dollars in defense capability. No, it was always going to be I was going to meet with President Putin, and then after that I'm going to call the leaders and President Zelensky. I'm going to call President Zelensky, and then I'll call, probably in that order, the leaders. There's a very good chance that we're going to have a second meeting, which will be more productive than the first, because the first is I'm going to find out where we are and what we're doing. Again, this is Biden's war. This isn't my war. He got us into this thing, and it should have never happened. This war would have never happened if I were president. But it is what it is, and I'm here to fix it, and I'm here to stop 6,000, 7,000 people last week. 7,213 people last week were killed, mostly soldiers. But missiles being lobbed into towns don't exactly help either, but mostly soldiers. And Ukrainian and Russian, they're not American soldiers, but if we can save a lot of lives, it would be a great thing. I've stopped 5 wars in the last 6 months. And on top of that, we wiped out the nuclear capability of Iran, obliterated it. It's turned out to be a correct word, by the way, because some of the press said, well, maybe it wasn't obliteration. It was obliteration.
Recent high-level meetings have attempted to address the conflict, though the path to peace remains uncertain. The international community continues to provide military aid to Ukraine, with Washington already sending 3 Patriot batteries and Germany providing 3 more, with plans for additional systems in the pipeline. But quantity alone won't solve a qualitative problem. Patriot currently represents the only robust defense Ukraine has against incoming ballistic missiles, making these recent developments especially worrisome. Without effective missile defense, Ukrainian cities become increasingly vulnerable to Russian attacks. Ukrainian officials, including President Zelensky, have routinely pressed NATO for more Patriot batteries and additional ammunition, but more systems won't address the fundamental technological challenge. The problem extends beyond just the Patriot systems. Any protracted conflict offers the potential for valuable lessons to be learned, but also the risk of the enemy doing the same. Persistent combat use of systems like Patriot presents repeated opportunities for adversaries to glean useful intelligence about their capabilities and develop new countermeasures. Every time Ukraine uses a Patriot system, Russia learns more about how to defeat it. The implications reach far beyond Ukraine's borders. The report marks a concerning assessment for Patriot air defenses that the U.S. and many of its allies and partners also rely on for missile defense. Countries like Germany, Japan, South Korea, and others depend on Patriot systems for their national defense. If Russia can consistently defeat Patriots in Ukraine, what does that mean for global security? The developments have serious implications as America considers air defense demands in potential future conflicts. Increasingly sophisticated ballistic missiles and emerging hypersonic weapons are creating new challenges for air defense systems worldwide. The U.S. Army has named air defense one of its highest priorities and is adjusting funding accordingly. The Pentagon is scrambling to develop responses, but creating new defensive capabilities takes years, while Russia's improvements are happening in real time on the battlefield. Ukrainian officials acknowledge that while these countermeasures complicate interception, they don't make it impossible. Partners are already working to improve the system's capabilities, but this is essentially an admission that the current generation of Patriots is no longer adequate against Russia's upgraded arsenal. The announcement comes as Russia ramps up its campaign of long-range strikes on Ukraine, using ballistic missiles that only the Patriot system can effectively engage. The international community continues trying to provide support. Washington and Berlin have agreed to deliver additional Patriot systems to Ukraine, recognizing the critical importance of air defense. But the challenge isn't just about having enough systems, it's about having systems capable of handling Russia's evolved threats. These missiles were already being used against Ukraine in June and July, with the upgrades primarily applying to the Iskander-M, Russia's most frequently deployed ballistic missile system. The broader strategic implications are staggering. The U.S. military is closely watching how Ukraine employs its Patriots to defend against Russian missiles, learning lessons that will shape American defense policy for years to come. America's entire approach to missile defense is being tested in real time, and the results raise serious questions about preparedness for future conflicts. If Patriots can't handle Russia's upgraded Iskanders, what happens when China develops similar capabilities for a potential Taiwan conflict? What about North Korea's growing missile arsenal? The technological arms race is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. Russia's upgrades to the Iskander-M represent years of development and testing, refined through actual combat experience in Ukraine. The invasion of Ukraine marked a turning point for the Patriot system, with Lockheed Martin experiencing a surge in demand that peaked in May 2023, when Patriots reportedly intercepted multiple hypersonic Kinjal missiles. But that success appears to have been short-lived as Russia adapted and improved its missiles in response. Looking ahead, the challenges are immense. The new Patriots won't solve Ukraine's problems with Russian air raids completely. The issue extends beyond just Patriots, as Russia's main strike weapon has increasingly become drones that cause most of the damage. Even if Ukraine somehow solves the ballistic missile problem, Russia is already adapting its strategy to focus on cheaper, more numerous drone attacks that can overwhelm any defense system through sheer volume. The situation represents a fundamental shift in modern warfare. Traditional air defense systems were designed to intercept missiles following predictable trajectories, but Russia's upgrades have introduced an element of unpredictability that current technology struggles to handle. The improved specifications allow Russian missiles to alter course and maneuver instead of following classic ballistic paths, complicating interception calculations. This isn't just an incremental improvement, it's a paradigm shift that challenges the core assumptions of missile defense. For the United States and its allies, the implications are profound. Billions of dollars have been invested in Patriot systems based on the assumption that they could reliably intercept ballistic missiles. If that assumption is no longer valid, entire defense strategies need to be reconsidered. The credibility of American military technology, and by extension, American security guarantees, is being tested in the crucible of actual combat. The race is now on to develop next-generation air defense systems capable of handling maneuvering ballistic missiles with decoy capabilities. But development cycles for advanced military systems typically take a decade or more, while Russia's improvements are happening in real time. This creates a dangerous window of vulnerability that adversaries around the world are undoubtedly observing and analyzing. Ukraine's struggle with upgraded Russian missiles is more than just a tactical challenge. It's a preview of the future of warfare. As missiles become smarter, more maneuverable, and harder to detect, traditional defense systems will become increasingly obsolete. The country that can adapt fastest to this new reality will have a decisive advantage in future conflicts. Right now, Russia appears to be winning that race, and Ukraine, along with the rest of the world, is paying the price. The question isn't whether other nations will develop similar capabilities, but how quickly they can do it, and whether the West can develop effective countermeasures before it's too late.